God's word, and that reality is the only reality that really matches what is truly real. Over to you, my brother. Good morning.
Yes, dear. Episode. In this episode, we want to look at the one stabilizing presence in Jerusalem. One stabilizing presence, because Jeremiah is this lone voice as the people of God are crushed by the king of the north, by Babylon. And the question that comes out of these 6 verses, the backstory, is really when you get to a fork in the road, what would you do? When you get to a fork in the road, what would you do? Now, that is a kohan. A kohan is a statement or a question that really has no one correct answer. When you get to a fork in the road, what would you do? Well, as we look at these 6 verses, you see that in this part of the unfolding story, the fractal idea of resurrection is quite evident. Remember, we've been tracking this idea of order, disorder, reorder throughout the book of Jeremiah. All 52 chapters are chock full of this particular pattern. It's a fractal pattern. It's got fern, F-E-R-N, fern fractality. A fern is fractal. What do you have on the frond? You have on the branch. What do you have on the branch of the fern? You have on the whole fern. It's an iterative, an infinitely iterative picture that recurs. This theme occurs throughout the 52 chapters. And now we are in chapter 40. We're going to look at 2 more instances of fractality after this. That's tomorrow and Monday. But for this morning, the 6 verses that was read in your hearing. These 6 verses carry the main idea that it is crucial to remain in a space in order to serve people. Remain in a space in order to serve people. In other words, posture in such a way that you can serve others. Sometimes we position ourselves in such a way that nobody can get close to us. We are like the proverbial onion, putting on layers upon layers around ourselves, layers of protection that is able to fend off the realities of the flow and the ebb of life, from the flow of that which comes at us because of great fear and anxiety. And so there are 3 ideas that unfold quite naturally in the text. Well, 4 actually. And I'm going to walk you through them. Because we need to understand that though we may be rounded up roughly, sometimes we get pushed around, nudged, shoved by life. And we think that handling is rather rough. I had an experience yesterday as I went across the mountain here where I live, and went across the mountain to a little place called Grabo. Nie Gebo, nie Grabo. And felt like I was shoved around a bit by the gentleman who was at the door because I had to get my ID documents. I had to pick up an ID card, and he was being real strange with me and said that I had jumped the queue, and all kinds of strange accusations were made that he did not see me. I must go back to the back of the line, and I had been there for almost for an hour and a half already. And of course, we get hot under the collar with that sort of thing. So I felt I was roughly treated and rounded up and herded. But you're going to see here in verse number 1 of the text, watch what happens. The word that came to Jeremiah from the Lord after Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, had let him go from Ramah, when he took him bound in chains among all those were carried away captive from Jerusalem and Judah, who were carried away captive to Babylon. So he was rounded up, right? He was bound in chains. But this was even after a deal had been struck that he would be protected by Nebuchadnezzar. He would not be carried away and herded around like an animal. And so, right there in verse 1, you see him taken, bound in chains. And though we may get roughly rounded up because of what life throws at us, we need to exercise great patience. And you're going to see how the story unfolds here from verse 2 onwards. The second line of the story says, "And the captain of the guard took Jeremiah and said to him, the Lord your God has pronounced this doom on this place." There's doom on this place. There's judgment on this place. Says a pagan to a child of God, to a covenant keeper, Jeremiah. And what does he say? The Lord your God has pronounced this doom on this place. Now the Lord has brought it and has done just as he said, because you people, now watch that, you people have sinned against the Lord. Even the pagan understands what's happening here. That those who claim to be the people of God are being dealt with by God. So though you may be rounded up roughly, remember that even though outsiders may recognize the culpability of the insiders. Who are the insiders? Judah and Jerusalem are the insiders. But they have great culpability in terms of what's happening to them. They are the covenant community, but they have walked away from God. And in this entry in Jeremiah's journal, he records the words in the mouth of Nebuzaradan, a pagan who recognizes what is happening here. You may be rounded up roughly. Though outsiders may recognize the culpability of the insiders for what's happening to them. Because you people, verse 3 says, have sinned against the Lord and not obeyed his voice. Therefore, this thing has come upon you. And now look what I'm going to do. I'm going to do something to you, Jeremiah. It is quite an indictment on the people of God when pagans understand, they have some semblance of an understanding of what is happening to us because we are not functioning according to God's desire and God's design. It's an indictment on us. Because as goes the people of God, so goes the culture. Men and women, listen carefully. As goes the people of God, so goes the culture. As goes the church, so goes the society. As goes the church, so goes the civilization. Because it really is part of a sinner's job description to sin. What are you expecting? You have far too high expectations of them. The issue is, where are you postured? How are you posturing yourself for being an instrument for change in this culture, in the civilization in which we find ourselves? So you may be rounded up roughly, and though outsiders may recognize the culpability of the insiders in terms of what's happening to them, watch verse number 4 into verse 5. Though you may have options to choose from. You may have options to choose from. Jeremiah, watch this. Look, verse 4. I free you this day from the chains that were on your hand. It seems good to you to come with me to Babylon. Come, and I will look after you. But if it seems wrong for you to come with me to Babylon, remain here. See, all the land is before you. Wherever it seems good and convenient for you to go, go there. Jeremiah has options. You may have options to choose from. Now, isn't that great to have options? And sometimes we are so strict. We live our lives in a narrow corridor, and If you've never run down a narrow corridor, watch how dangerous and how difficult it is to do that, to be running down a narrow corridor. The possibilities of bumping into the walls and tripping and falling are very high. No freedom, no flexibility. But watch what happens when you have the flexibility and the grace of a ballroom dancer on a ballroom floor. You are going with the flow. You are moving with the flow of reality. Jeremiah is moving with the flow of reality, and he has options. And when you and I love our fellow human beings the way we ought, we afford them choices. We give them the options to choose. If you've had children and your children are older, or if you still have children, then you know what it's like to give them the freedom to choose. It's a very difficult thing for us as parents to let go because we are such control freaks. Let them go and make choices, choices that we don't always agree with. But you see, because we love them, we afford them the possibility of making choices, good choices, but also not so good choices. So, Jeremiah, what's before you are options. You can choose. Now, in the second part of verse number 5 of the story, in verse 6, though you may be rounded up roughly, though outsiders may recognize the culpability of the insiders, and though you may have many options to choose from, here's the fourth thing you need to be mindful of. Make the right choice. Make the right choice. When you come to a fork in the road, what would you do? The text encourages you to make the right choice. What is the right choice? Well, you don't have to cast lots. You don't have to toss up a coin. Sort of heads I win, tails you lose kind of toss up. But you make the right choice. What's the right choice? The one you're willing to live with. That which you are willing to live with. When you come to a fork in the road, what would you do? Take it. Take it. And you say, what is it? Well, you will have to choose. We had a song as young people that we used to sing, 2 roads from which to choose, the road to glory or the fool's highway. And folly's freeway is broad. Wisdom's walkway has grace to it, but folly's freeway, oh, the choices upon choices upon choices. Watch what verse number 5, the second part says. Now, while Jeremiah had not yet gone back, Nebuzaradan said, go back to Gedaliah, the son of Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, whom the king of Babylon has made governor over the cities of Judah, and dwell with him among the people. Or go wherever it seems convenient for you to go. Freedom to choose. So the captain of the guard gave him rations and a gift and let him go. Then Jeremiah went to Gedaliah, the son of Ahikam, to Mizpah, and dwelt with him among the people who were left in the land. Watch where he postures himself. Among the people. Oh, sometimes we are scared of going where the people are. Because they're going to ask us questions we don't have answers for. Jeremiah goes right where the people are who are left in the land. And so this morning I've got 3 questions, 3 sub-questions for you under that big question. When you come into a fork in the road, what would you do? Well, here are some questions that will help you. Number 1, are you facing a challenging situation today? And what is it? Don't just say yes. What is that challenging situation? Can you bring strategic intentionality to the question? Number 2, what options do you have? What choices are open to you? What options do you have? And finally, what are the pros and the cons of each of the choices you could make? And so today you will get to a fork in the road and forks in the road, maybe many of them. I encourage you to take them, but live with the choices that you make. Back to you, Theo.
All right, thank you so very much, Terry, also for those three very specific strategic ways of navigating through it. Because I was wondering exactly, okay, now how do you do it when you get there? And so, thank you so very very much for that. It just strikes me once again, and thank you for highlighting and illuminating this, just how much of the treasures for living life in the real world in a real manner is found right there in front of us in the scriptures. And this story in this particular journal of Jeremiah is another illustration of that. Those of you who are joining us, who have joined us this morning, thank you so very much for spending your time with us. Terry has identified a song that we will be playing for you this morning, and we trust that it will be a blessing for you. It's a hymn, and we were talking this morning about mixing things up, and it's sometimes good to listen to a variety of forms or genres, if you wish, in music. There's something to be learned from this particular song. Will your anchor hold? A very, very relevant question. Almost the same one as what do you do? And thank you so very much. We'll see you tomorrow morning. And as Terry hinted, there are two modules or two chapters, if you wish, left, which is tomorrow morning at 7, and then on Monday morning. Monday morning is going to be the last day of September. We've been graced. Terry, thank you so very much, brother.
You're welcome. Thank you, listeners,
for taking us through this. Have a wonderful day as we wish you God's blessing and God's gift and God's grace upon you today and always. So, hey, there you are.
Yep.
Lovely a set of sort of practical, but still hard things to do if you don't have the habit.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's quite a lot of struggles we face because we don't have habits. I'm sort of experiencing that quite a lot here at home. I have to get into routines. My goodness, because there's certain things that I've not gotten into routine wise. Um, you said you experienced a little bit of the same when Jackie was down in the south and you were trying to protect
Mm.
South Africa from the Zimbabweans in the north, folks from Busana in the west.
Yeah, because you're not taking the time because you've got a significant other to, you know, watch your back. Now the significant other is halfway around the world. And
Yeah.
it's like, whoops, okay,
No, this
okay.
is a sort of whoops, like
Haste,
to the power
hasten
of
the day, hasten the day, Lord.
yes, hasten the day. No, no, no. Yeah.
No, I
Um,
must tell you, just to pick up the thread that we started talking about, I found that living in this mode is a lot more exciting
mm,
than any ideology, because ideology is pre-programmed. It's a